Hello and welcome to the essay workshop for IASC. My name is Rashmi Karan and I'm your host. I'm currently a student at UNC Keenan Flagler Business School, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Gunjan Junjunwala from the Red Pen. Our next 45 minutes will be spent on the IASC essays, and we will review some sample essays, highlight opportunities and some problems for you. During the presentation, please post your questions in the Q&A tab and we will answer it. If you post in the chat, unfortunately, it will be getting ignored, so don't do that. And yeah, engage as much as you can. And now I will turn it over to Gunjan. Hi, Gunjan. Happy to have you here.
Hi, Rashmi. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure doing this together.
Yeah, that's so cool. Let's get started.
Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out the time to be here today. And I would like to start with the intention that it would add tremendous value to all those people who are there in the session today. I am Gunju Junjunwala. I'm a senior consultant at the Red Pen. I've worked with over 200 plus applicants and have had some great admits across M7, S10, LBS, INSEAD, ISB. Quite a few of my clients have also been able to crack these admits with scholarship. A little bit about the Red Pen. We've been into the business of education consulting for over 14 plus years. We have an array of services, right from boarding school to undergrad prep to undergrad admissions, postgrad admissions, and MBA admissions. At MBA admissions, we have a seasoned group of consultants who've helped clients across different geographies crack European, US, and Indian schools. We are also members of various international bodies such as NAGAC and EGAC. Yes, with that, I would like to move on. IES, ESA, right? So ESA, it's whichever school that you are targeting, whether it is ESA or whether it is any other school besides this, my recommendation would be do go over the website and find out what is the mission slash vision of the school. And why do I say that? Because every school has a very, very different, unique culture. While every school would say that we are looking for people with leadership potential, with good communication skills, with adaptability, with intellectual curiosity, and all of this. But again, even within that domain, every school has its intrinsic culture, and subconsciously, consciously, they are looking for people who are able to fit into that school's culture. So the mission of ESA, for example, says we develop leaders who strive to have a deep, positive, and lasting impact on people, companies, and society through professional excellence, integrity, and spirit of service. If you go to the website, you will find that these three keywords pop up again and again, which is professional excellence, integrity, and spirit of service. So, this talks a lot about what exactly the school is looking for. They are looking for people who are able to uphold their integral values and live up to a certain set of standards when it came to integrity. They are looking for people with goals, not just about them, but also with a spirit of service. That when you are able to achieve those business goals, the long term, short term goals, how is it that you are also doing it with a spirit of service, and whether in the past you have done something which sort of helps the school understand that you are a member of a community and you are very, very community focused, and you come with that sort of with that sort of values that you want to do good to others as well, and hence the spirit of service uh, here is very important, and so is integrity, and so is professional excellence. Professionally, have you been able to achieve something over and above your peers, and how do you demonstrate that professional excellence? So these three keywords should be kept in mind when you are writing your when you are going to your recommenders for writing your LORs, whether it's the resume or even when it's filling the application form and when it's writing your essays. So keep this in mind that do go over the mission of the school. Now, the vision again says we aim to be the top business school in the world for purpose, inspiring leaders for whom everybody matters. A very, very strong word there. Everybody matters. It's just any if you've like mentored somebody along the way, if you've been able to like help them in any possible manner, and help them professionally, personally, is something which the school would value. By accompanying men and women on their journeys of lifelong learning, we bring a deeper meaning to doing business. We do this through global business programs and thought leadership based on relevant research. So again, the school is very, very research focused. If you go to the website, you'll come across a lot of centers of excellence and research that the school is heavily investing in. And this is something which would be a good to know knowledge for you around the long term goal that you are targeting and the short term goal that you're targeting. What are the centers of research that is there within the school, and how that is going to benefit you in helping you achieve those goals? So these things become very important, covering the mission and vision of the school. Moving on, let's go to essay one. And there are two essays to ESA this year. And the first essay is, what are your immediate career goals after graduation and your midterm career goal 5 to 10 years after graduation? How will the ESA MBA program help you achieve them? Word limit being 300 words. This is a clear cut goals essay. The school is trying to understand what are your short term goals, which is immediately post MBA, and what are your long term goals, which is after you've passed out 10 years down the line. Here are three things which I would like you to spend your time on when it comes to answering this particular question. Whenever you're talking about goals, it should be a combination of three pillars. And what are those three pillars? Experience, motivation, and vision. Let me break it down, each of them for you. What is experience? When you are thinking about your goals should have an origin story which is rooted in your experience. That means, let's say if I am into I am a healthcare professional, and suddenly I have been in healthcare for a while, and I have realized that there is this particular aspect of the healthcare industry which I have identified as something I would like to spend my time and energy in, because of XYZ reasons. It's a business problem which I want to solve, or it is something that really, really motivates me. It could be something as basic as, for example, hospital patient communication. In my healthcare journey, I have realized that there is a gap here, and this is the gap which I want to fulfill, because while working on XYZ projects, I saw this gap which impacted people in a certain manner, or which impacted business in a certain manner. So, whenever you're talking about your goals, draw the reader towards the experience you've had and how that experience has propelled you to take to take a direction in which you want your goals to go to. The second part of it is the motivation. And what do I mean by that? It is something that, there was this aha moment when you felt, okay, this is what I really want to do, because this resonates with me that deeply. It could be a negative aha moment wherein you felt, okay, this is a problem I really, really want to solve, because this is how it's impacting people in a certain manner. Or it could even be a positive thing which you saw, you did something small and it left a lasting impact on the business or on the people, and you felt this is something that motivates you to be able to spend the rest of your life in this particular domain. So experience and motivation should then lead you towards your vision. And when I talk about the vision, whenever you're talking about your long term goals are really, really far away, right? Like 10 years down the line, a lot of things would change in the business ecosystem. Processes would change, technologies would change. So, what the school is not expecting is to tell you the how you would achieve the long term vision, but why do you have that vision in the first place? And when you're talking about your long term goals, it's always a good idea to talk a few lines about the vision. This is the vision that I have, and hence this is my long term goal. And I would I would be able, and then your short term goal becomes a stepping stone towards your long term goal. So once you've identified your vision, you then talk about, okay, this is the vision which I have in the long term. I want to do this because this is my vision and this is what I plan to solve. Then you bring clarity into your short term goals. And when you're talking about your short term goals, please be as clear as possible, because that is where the school is looking for clarity, not so much in the long term goals, but more so in the short term. Which industry, which function, and which geography? Typically, anybody who is applying to a business school is looking for a switch across these three areas: the industry, the function, and the geography. If it's a triple switch, then it's a big red flag for the school, because ultimately the school is also looking whether they will be able to employ you after you've passed out or not from the whole 2 year program. Have you, are you able to, are you employable or not? So the career services is deeply invested in having you placed. So for them it's important that your goals, your short term goals, while they are aspirational, they are also realistic, achievable. And that's why three industry, function, and geography pivot is something which I would say, do not try and show all three pivots, because then it becomes a huge problem for the career services team, and even the school might have some concerns around the application. Try and concentrate around 2 to 1 pivot. So maybe let's say you say that, look, I'm here and this is the particular industry I'm in. I'm looking for an industry switch and I'm looking for a function switch, or it could be a function and geography switch, or it could be an industry and geography switch. So any combination is fine, but do not look for a three pivot scenario. Also, if you feel that you have to achieve your long term goal, this is one path. This is one path you can take towards your short term goal, and there is also a plan B which you have identified. It's always a good idea to put this here, because then it brings in more confidence, and especially now, given the job market, the scenario which everybody is going through, a plan B reflects well and gives uh, the school more confidence in your application. So this is how you should look at identifying your short term and long term goals. One of the things which you could do here is, you could also go to the employment report of ESA and see where companies, which type of companies are coming, and what is the placement numbers, and identify two specific companies from the employment report and say, look, this is where I am and this is what I want to do, and this is the exactly the role that I want to do, and this is the kind of company that I would like to work with. The third part of this question is, why ESA? While you've identified, so you've identified your goals, you've spoken about your short-term plans, and then now this particular para becomes equally important, because here is a great opportunity for you to showcase the school, the kind of business school research you've done, and how via that research you've identified resources within the school that would help you achieve your long-term as well as short-term goals. So it could be, it could be courses, that very specific courses that you feel will further your domain knowledge, or it could be clubs where you feel you could really benefit from the network, or it could be some immersion programs which the school is organizing, which you feel would help you achieve your short term slash long term goals, or it could be, as I said, centers of excellence where you feel that that would add tremendous value in the area, or in the industry, the function that you are targeting. So this is how you should ideally be approaching this particular question. uh, uh, Rashmi, do you want to take up questions on this particular essay now, or do we do it towards the end?
So let me just see if we have any essay specific question.
Right.
So yeah, I have one. So just let me show it on the stage and then we can go ahead with the presentation. So the question is, how do you define the essay when your plan is to pivot in your career through the MBA?
How do you define the essay when your plan is to pivot in your career through the
Pivot in
MBA?
your career, yeah.
So, as I said, everybody, most of the people who are applying is looking for a pivot. So, whether it could be an industry pivot, a function pivot, or a geography pivot. Now, how do you define the essay is something which I don't understand, because ultimately they are asking you to specifically say, this is my past experience, this is what I have learned, this is this is a problem which I have identified, and this is a problem that resonates with me, it motivates me, or it's something which I really want to invest my time, energy in. And that's why my long term vision is this. And to achieve that long term vision, this is the kind of industry and geography slash function that I would be targeting. So, Jayesh, if you could be more specific about what do you mean by how do you define the essay? Because the essay question is not open-ended. It's a very, very crisp, clear, and close-ended question. Tell us about your goals. And and since the word limit is only 300, if I have to tell you about a structure, how I would approach is maybe para one would talk about I have been in this particular industry slash function, and this is what I have identified, and in my dash years of experience, 3 4 5 years of experience, I have realized that this is something that really resonates with me, or it is something which I did at a pilot level and I feel that the potential is much higher. So this is a problem within the industry slash function which I want to solve. And by solving this, I will not only be benefiting the business slash function, but also if I could show the impact that it would have on the people around us. Because ultimately, businesses are about creating impact to the people. It could be, enhancing quality of life. It has to have some connection with impacting people. For example, something as, you know, as basic as fintech. Fintech is not just about financial services and all of that. It's also about financial inclusion. That I've been in the fintech domain, and I was really excited to see that through my work, this is the impact that it has created in terms of getting more people in the lending in the space wherein they could we could forward them credits despite to those people who are rejected by the traditional banks for xyz reasons. So I feel that fintech really adds to the financial inclusion, and this is a mission that resonates with me, and that's why I want to be in this domain to solve this particular problem within fintech, to be able to impact more lives. That is how you have to approach this. So the first para could be that. The second para has to talk about, now that this is my vision, this is the kind of roles slash functions that I am interested in the short term, because of these reasons. And then you have to state what is it that your short term stint, what is it that you're going to learn from your short term stint that would help you achieve your long term vision. It should just not be okay, this is it, and I want to work as a manager at this company. But why? Always keep asking yourself why. What will that 3 year 4 year 5 year stint tell me about that particular problem which I am planning to solve in the long term, and how I'm going to benefit from investing 4 5 years in that particular industry slash function. And then the third para, as I said, could be about school specific resources that will help you achieve your goals. It could be a lot of resources that are available in the school to help you solve that problem or to help you achieve your goals. It could be courses, it could be clubs, it could be, as I mentioned, it could be centers of excellence, it could be, let's say, some specific research which a faculty has done, which you feel it really resonates with you and help you. Or it could be the alum network. What is it that the school offers in terms of the network? It could be the location, like let's say my future industry is in this particular location, and by being there I would be able to connect with a lot of industry veterans, where that will deepen my insights about this particular industry, and that is why I'm excited about it. Okay, so I believe we should move on to the next one.
Yes, we should move on. We have actually some questions on the long-term goals as well, so I think we can cover that later. So let's go
Okay, great,
on.
great. This is an optional essay. What would you like to highlight about yourself or your journey, which may not have been captured in your application? Now, while I understand this is an optional essay, given that ESA is just giving one, uh, like one mandatory question to answer, which is 300 words, I would highly recommend that you answer this particular optional essay, but it should not be a rehash of information which is already provided in your resume slash LOR slash essay one. It should be able, you should approach this essay with the lens that I want to talk about something else about my personality, which will help the college understand more about me and my aspirations or my way of functioning. I have listed down some 5 options, and you could choose an option that resonates with you and you feel that you have a lot of examples to talk about, because ultimately what they are really looking for is, if let's say I say that I've been a very very inclusive leader, and but then show me rather than say it, right? That's a terminology often used, that it's very easy to find all this information on the web and say, oh, I'm an inclusive leader, I'm an adaptive leader, or I'm this, I'm that, but you have to show proof of it. So one of the ways in which you could approach this essay is saying how your life experiences has shaped your leadership style, because ultimately every business school, including ESA, are looking for leaders for tomorrow, right? So what is it that you have done as a leader that shows the school that this is your leadership style, and this is how the cohort is going to benefit by having you as one of them. So explain how this leadership style will contribute to the ESA cohort. Now, it could be you could look at leadership style across different areas of your life. It could be, when you were, let's say, in college, and you headed a society, and what was it that you did as a leader? Then you moved on in the corporate world, or you started on your own and you have your own startup, and what did you do as a leader there? Or what were the challenges that came on your way when you were leading teams? So try and show a holistic picture of your leadership style. It should not just be a moment in time when I headed, let's say, a function or a role for 6 months, or a project for 6 months. Try and show a story around your leadership style, and that could only come if you connect the dots and talk about different life experiences which shows your leadership style. So that is one way of approaching this question. The second could be, describe a hobby that you've cultivated, contributing to your professional success, and how you intend to bring these skills to enrich the cohort. It could be any hobby, where you feel that it really tested you out, it helped you function out of your comfort zone, and then you imbibe skills that helped you in your professional journey. For example, if I had to think about a hobby, it could be something like traveling. I traveled to XYZ locations, and I backpacked so many countries, and I felt that, culturally, these are the kind of biases I had, when going to different countries, and how these travel experiences have helped me overcome my biases. And having overcome those biases, how I have been able to perform professionally better in a cross-cultural environment, how I've been able to communicate better with people across different cultures because of the travel experiences I've had. That's one way of looking at it. The other could be, you are into hiking slash trekking, and you've done some very difficult treks, and what you learned out of those experiences, like, did it build resilience in you? Did it build flexibility in you? And then try and show how you demonstrated the skills that you acquired from those hobbies in your professional setup, and how these skills will help you enrich the ASA cohort. That's the second way of looking at it. The third, if you've overcome significant challenges, geographical limitations, financial constraints, discuss how navigating these obstacles has influenced your perspective and prepared you to contribute to the ESA cohort. Now, I have a lot of clients, who talk about negative life experiences that they've had, and life is big. We all go through something or the other, right? Now, and they say, I don't want to make it a sob story, but it's not really about making it a sob story. It's about what you learned even while being in those negative circumstances. It could be financial constraints, and how those financial constraints, let's say, showed you, made you a better resource manager. You were able to function in resource constrained environments, and how that helped you in your professional journey. You were, let's say, in a startup wherein resources were very very constrained, and but because you had these qualities imbibed in you, and you utilized the existing resources to its maximum, and how that brought in success. So that could be one way of looking at it. Or it could be something very very different as well, like, you've witnessed negative situations at home, and how that have showed you that how power should be used, what is the power dynamics, and whether, if you've seen misuse of power in your household, then how that has made you more conscious about, uh, or made you more empathetic towards people and more conscious about using power when you were in power, and how that has shaped you to the kind of person that you are today, and how that sort of an empathetic attitude helped you perform well at work. That could be another way of looking at it. Explain any mitigating circumstances such as low CGPA, gaps in work experience, a lower GMAT, or reasons for pursuing a second MBA. I would say that if you have any of these situations, give this priority over the other bullet points that I have mentioned. Sole reason being because this is the only space where you can explain these gaps. And sometimes, clients would say, let's not even talk about it. I know I have these gaps. I have a year's gap. I have a year and a half gap, but let's not talk about it. Maybe that will not it will not draw the attention of the adcom, and so why bring it up here? But I think that's a wrong strategy, simply because if you don't explain a gap, or if you don't explain the reason for a low score, the adcom can assume 10 different things, and then that would not be in your favor. So it's best that if you have any of these circumstances, explain it with an open mind. Do not talk about stories which aren't true. And sometimes, and they understand, a lot of adcoms, they say that, if people have a low CGPA, we understand, because attending university is difficult. People are coping up with a lot of things. If you've moved out of your location to attend a university, and the first year hasn't been good because you're trying to adjust to the new environment, or they want to hear that. If that is something which affected your grades, they want to hear that. So talk about these experiences, or if there are gaps in your work experience because maybe you were preparing for some competitive exam but you couldn't crack it. So try and explain gaps in your work experience if you have, rather than hiding it. The fourth point could be describe life experiences that have profoundly influenced your perspective on personal and professional situations. Discuss the lessons learned and how these insights will enrich the ESA cohort. That's a great way of, again, answering this question. The reason being, let's say you took up some volunteer work, and that really changed your worldview about a lot of things, and that is something that you carried forward in your professional experience, and to the extent that even it even inspired your goals, because the goals essay is just 300 words in which you have to cover a lot of things. So let's say if it's such a circumstance wherein that particular circumstance really inspired your goals, and talk about it here, and show more about yourself, and answer the why, that why these goals are there, because I had these experiences and hence I felt this, and therefore this is where I am today, and these are the lessons I have learned in this journey, and this is how the cohort's gonna benefit from having me as one of their class members. So these are some of the ways you could answer the optional essay, but it's again very profile specific. So if there's something else which you feel is really really burning, which you want to take up here, you could do that. But always answer negative circumstances or negative situations with a growth mindset. That what did you learn out of it, rather than making it like a story of pity, because that's not something which admission officers are looking at. Moving on, this is a live essay which I wanted to cover. Uh, Somebody had submitted this. I would just cover this in the next 5 to 7 minutes, Rashmi, and then we can go straight to the questions.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So yeah, we can do that.
Okay, great. So post MBA, I aspire to become to be a business oriented product management to be in a business oriented product management position within a retail technology company. I We would need more context if I'm reading this essay and I don't have your resume with me. So I don't know whether you are already in a retail company, or is it something that you are looking at pivoting. So I would need more context that I post MBA, I aspire to transition from this to this. That would give more clarity on what you've done so far, and what is the next step that you're planning to take. My main objective is to contribute to the development of innovative products and solutions that address contemporary challenges, particularly the urgent need for sustainability in product development and supply chain management and environmental concerns. I think there are too many elements that are there in these two, three lines. When you talk about, I want to address the contemporary challenges, as I said in the previous slide, always ask yourself, why am I interested in addressing these contemporary challenges? Are there situations which I encountered wherein I felt that addressing these contemporary challenges would change XYZ things and which would influence somebody's life positively? Why are you interested in addressing the contemporary challenges? And to that point, when I come to the long term, when she's written about the long term goal, suddenly sustainability is not even there in the picture. So that's another thing which I'll cover when I'm there. But if you're talking about something as big as sustainability, it is coming out of a place of passion, and if it is coming out of a place of passion, it cannot disappear in the long term goal. I mean, that's then it's clearly showing that it's just there for the sake of it. There is no passion element when it comes to pursuing sustainability. My journey, particularly working closely with Victoria's Secret's product managers, has equipped me with insights into inventory management, customer engagement, and demand forecasting, fueling my passion for retail. Uh, I would want to understand that what were you doing in Victoria's Secret? Were you working in Victoria's Secret in what capacity? And what kind of insights did you pick up? I would rather concentrate on picking one insight and talking about it rather than mentioning all these different things, because inventory management, customer engagement, and demand forecasting, fueling my passion for retail, it's looking very generic. These are all the things that a lot of, maximum of the things which a retail sector would anyways cover. So how is this fueling your passion for retail is something which is missing here. Such experiences combined with my long-standing interest in fashion align perfectly with my goals. No, I would not even mention this because uh, there's no connection between the two. Where has this passion for fashion suddenly aligning with retail, and suddenly you're talking about sustainability? Too many elements in the essay can confuse the reader, and sometimes it gives the impression that words are just being used because they're the hot word. Like, for example, sustainability is a hot word, so hence it's just put in the application. Simultaneously, I'm committed towards bridging the gender disparity prevalent in the tech industry. Now, again, another hot topic, right? Gender disparity. So there are too many elements, and if, let's say, you were interested in gender disparity and you've done something about gender disparity in the past, then you use the optional essay to talk about gender disparity in detail and say that that's why this goal resonates with me, because this is what I saw in the tech industry, and this is what I did to address the gender disparity, and this is what I want to do in the future at a at a macro level, or at a more broader scale. So my ultimate goal is to make a sustainable substantial impact in retail by spearheading initiatives that can tackle integration challenges arising from the use of multiple platforms by vendors and at point of sale in stores. As I said, sustainability is suddenly missing, and the point of sale element in stores is something which came up as a long term vision, but I don't see any vision here. What is it that you want to solve that can tackle integration challenges arising from the use of multiple platforms by vendors? But in the previous para, you told about customer engagement. You spoke about demand forecasting, and suddenly that is missing here. So there's no context. Long term and short term goals are looking very disconnected to me. Additionally, I also want to enhance customer experience by implementing seamless operations across physical as well as digital stores. Simultaneously recognizing the underrepresentation of women in technology, I aim to encourage equality and inclusion. This involves actively working towards increasing the representation of women, especially in leadership positions. Too many elements. There is sustainability, there is inequity, there is gender disparity. Then we are also talking about technology in retail, and just fashion. Fashion is also coming out. Too many things. Sometimes it loses the reader's attention because I am not reading this. I'm not able to understand what resonates with you. What is that one thing that resonates with you, and why it resonates with you? So I would say avoid that many elements and keep it to one. Let's say you want to address the problem of sustainability in retail. So in the past, have you done something about it? Or within your role, is there something which you felt was a burning issue, and even if you did a small project that showed your inclination towards sustainability, then it makes sense. Otherwise, I can also read up on Google for 2 3 hours and come up with like fancy long term goals and fancy short term goals, but if it is not rooted in my prior experience and problems that I identified in my prior experience, then it doesn't bring in credibility. The program aligns perfectly with my goals, with essential modules like business analytics and competitive strategy, and electives like production, technology, and information management. 4 5 courses, the names have just been thrown, but what will you learn? You could even talk about just one course. Let's say business analytics is something, this is business analytics course, and I will learn this thing. That will help me achieve my short term goal of this. That's more than enough, rather than showing a laundry list of courses that you will be doing. Because it's just as if I've gone to the website and picked up these 4 courses and put it here. You should talk about one course if you have to, and how, what will you learn within that course, or what are you interested in learning within that course to achieve your goals. The case study approach enhances decision making and critical thinking skills. The case study method, why do you think it enhances decision making? And talk about, most of the schools are having the case study method. So how, which type of case studies do you think would interest you that will help you achieve your goals? Or talk about it in context of your goals. Do not talk out of context of your goals, that okay, here is the curriculum, here is the case study, and just put it on the third. No, I would encourage you to connect it to your goals. The optional concentration of sustainable and responsible business would be an added advantage in building my skills in sustainability and consumer psychology. This is still to a certain extent giving the reader an impression that okay, you are looking at uh, consumer psychology, understanding consumer psychology within sustainability. So it's slightly better than the first 2 sentences which I read. The responsible business club and technology club will help me meet thought leaders and recruiters while building a network within and beyond ESC. The MBA program will be instrumental in honing these skills, ensuring my readiness for a successful career in retail technology where I can innovate and commit to diversity and sustainability. No, I wouldn't encourage you to put the third line at all, the last line, because it's just rehashing the whole thing which you've already put in your previous paras. And, you know, sometimes we just feel the need for a conclusion, but the conclusion should also give more insights about you if the word limit is as tight as 300 words. So yeah, this is like given the time constraint that we have, this is a brief review of whatever we've done. We can now, yes, Rashmi, we can now take questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kunjan. It was such a nice review. And yeah, I can definitely see what was going on in the essay. So I'll just start pulling the question first. So the first question is GMAT focus score required to get admit for an average profile student? Like,
GMAT
is it
focus score,
required? Okay.
GMAT focus score required to get admit for an average profile student. Uh, is the question around what is the GMAT focus score required to get admit for an average profile student? Well, you'll have to, since GMAT focus is a new addition, a lot of schools are actually looking at percentiles when deciding what is the average. Some schools have disclosed the average, so I would encourage you to go to the website and check, and if not, write to the school and understand what is the current score that they're looking on, what are the averages that they're looking at. But yes, if you're talking about a score, you would require a score to apply.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think this is the next question is very interesting. They're asking if we mention geography switch for one of our goals, wouldn't it be negative in the sense that the school may think we want to use it just to switch the location and earn in the stronger currency instead of actually valuing the school's offerings?
Yes, so when you're talking about a geography switch, let's say I'm based out of India and I want to move to the
Mhm.
US. Uh,
Yes.
why do I want to move to the US? It has to be rooted in your goals. So let's say if I say that I am planning to do this around sustainability, the going back to the live example that we, and in the US, this industry is much more evolved, and I would be able to enhance insights because of regulations that make this particular industry more nuanced and evolved. Then geographical switch should also be rooted in your goals, and it should not just come out of the sheer reason that you want to you want to use MBA to move out of the country. That should not be the case.
Yeah, that's very true. We have another good question. How should one craft long-term essays with more focus on events from personal life or from the professional life?
How should one craft long-term goals? Essays with yeah, it's a good question. From personal life or from professional life? So, uh, it is okay even if the goals are coming out of a personal life event. But what is important is if it's coming out of a personal life event, what have you done in your let's say you did not get you were not able to do too much in your professional capacity, but what have you done beyond your professional life to show your commitment towards those goals? Okay, let's say I feel for I have seen domestic, like I have seen women being beaten and I feel for them, and hence this is something that I want to do because it's coming from a personal life experience. But what have I done? Have I taken out the time to volunteer? Have I been involved in policy making, like policy changes? Have I pushed for policy changes? What is it that I have done to show the adcom that this is something which I'm really, really committed to? Or if let's say it's about something else, then have I done some pro bono work around it, even if it's not like coming from my professional life, but outside of work, what have I done to show the commitment towards those goals?
Yeah, that's very good answer. I think there is a good question about also there is a 450 word scholarship essay. How would you suggest to go about it?
I would have to. What is the, is it a merit-based scholarship or is it like if you could just give more context, Karvit, is it merit-based scholarship that you're talking about or is it need-based scholarship? Because the answer to that would differ according to the category in which it falls.
Okay, yeah. So I think you need to, you need to reach out to you. So yeah, thanks, Garvit.
Yeah,
We'll take
I have put a Google form there. If anybody wants to reach out to us, they can just fill in the details and they could do a free profile evaluation call with us.
good. So there's a question about the layoff. So how can I talk about being laid off and taking a gap to find a new role?
Yes, so it's a good question, Tushar. If you've been laid off and you have a gap, which is let's say 6 months and above, it's a good idea to show the ADCOM what have you done while you were away from work. How have you upskilled yourself professionally to ensure that you were not. It was not something very. You did not just while away your time, but you did something fruitful, and that will help you in accumulating skills which will be utilized in your next professional stint.
Yeah, very well answered. We have a very good question on the international work experience. So it's about there's a question on international experience. Can we talk about the international work experience done remotely? For example, working with clients across globe, launching and scaling products across globe.
Sometimes what happens is with Indian applicants, they just want to show international work experience without having really done much about it. But in this case, if you have uh, virtually caught up with people from different teams from different locations, and you've actively been involved, it's not like a one-off engagement but something which you've been actively involved, and it's for a considerable duration. You could show it as one of the pointers in your resume. But having said that, international work experience, if we have to talk about international work experience, it also they also want to see whether you've traveled to the location and spent considerable time there to be able to adjust to a new working environment or working culture. So you could have it as a resume point, but I wouldn't like go ahead and you know write 10 more things about it if it's remotely based.
Yes, so we are right on time. And if anyone has any question, you can just reach out to Gunjan anytime. As she spoke, she has given the QR code and also the Google form. So yeah, thanks Gunjan for having us here. And it's such a pleasure talking to you. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.